Good afternoon and a big welcome to this afternoon's event. My name is Lewis Gibbs. I'm the hub lead for Devon and Torbay Music Education Hubs.
Hi, and I'm Sam Massey. I'm the director of Devon Youth Chamber Brass.
And this afternoon we've got two very exciting musical firsts to share with you. The first is the first performance by Devon Youth Chamber Brass, first ever time that they performed together, and it's a brand new symphonic brass ensemble for young musicians. And the first performance of New Beginnings, a brand new and very appropriately titled piece of music by Sam Massey. In a moment, Sam's going to tell us a little bit more about the project, and we'll be meeting some of the other people involved. But if you're joining us live via YouTube, feel free to ask any questions that you might have using the chat function. To do that, you'll need to be logged into your YouTube account. But please do ask any questions, and we'll try to address as many of those as we can as we go through. So, Sam, over to you.
Thanks very much, Lewis. So I'm just going to talk very briefly before we bring in some of our guests, just a little bit about Devon Youth Chamber Brass and the concept, and then the project that we put together, just so that everybody knows what we were doing, what we're about. So firstly, I had an idea last year, before we went into lockdown or coronavirus, probably January, February last year. I had an idea to put together to complement some of the other fantastic musical opportunities available from Devon and the Devon Hub funded partner opportunities. I thought it'd be great to put together a band particularly focused for intermediate to advanced brass players from all over Devon, somewhere that they could meet and play chamber brass ensemble music of all different styles. The style didn't really matter. It could be sort of classical music, it could be more jazz related, it could be pop music, it could be film and TV music, and just the only thing binding it all together is a love of brass and a having got to a certain standard on your instrument and playing together with like-minded musicians. I thought it would be really nice to do that. So I applied for some funding from the Devon Music Education Hub and was lucky enough to be awarded the funding. And the funding was basically awarded as we went into lockdown. So with all these grand plans to meet in Exeter, have a big brass recruitment day with lots of trying to collaborate with all of some of the other hub-funded partners, such as the Devon County Youth Brass Band, which is another fantastic brass opportunity we'll come on to a bit later that's available in Devon. We were going to have a big day, lots of people in the same place playing together. Wouldn't that be fantastic? And unfortunately, coronavirus put pay to all of that. We were due to launch in September 2020, but for obvious reasons, we weren't able to do so. And so as the year dragged on and it became clear that a big group of people together is just not going to happen, I spoke to Lewis Gibbs about how we could best use the funding to make sure that young people in Devon could actually play together and make brass ensemble music together. So I had an idea. We had a lot of these lockdown videos where people were playing in their bedrooms and putting videos together, coming up in the first UK lockdown, and then as things opened up again, they kind of they sort of stopped, and then they started again as the second UK lockdown came in. And I thought it would be really nice to use this as the opportunity that it displays to actually get the students to play along with professional musicians, because that is the one thing that we can do in lockdown, is bring people together from all over the country. So the concept we came up with together was the New Beginnings project. So in the New Beginnings project, what we basically did, I composed a piece for a 10-piece brass ensemble, which was written over the course of a month or so. And then in January, we pulled together a virtual band, none of whom we've never played together. We've never all been in the same room together. We pulled together a virtual band of musicians who started their musical journey in Devon. They're now all over the country, and we'll talk, well, all over the world actually, and we'll talk to some of those and talk about it with some of those people in a bit more detail later on in the session. And we pulled them together. They all recorded their parts remotely. And we, once they recorded their parts very well, in fact, as we'll hear later on, the students were able to use the recording that the professional musicians put together in order to learn ensemble skills. So they were playing along with a piece that had a fantastic sound quality. They were able to learn about tuning, learn about where their entries were in the piece, because it's not always easy to know where to come in, but they could listen along. They could learn about articulation, learn about phrasing, musicality, style, and all of that from the safety of their own home. The timing was pretty fortuitous. It was pretty lucky, actually, that we, I mean, unlucky for all of us that ended up in lockdown, but we've been in lockdown in the UK now for the last 2 months. So it's given all the students and everybody plenty of time to practice this and put together their recordings. So following on from that, the students had a couple of weeks to practice, get the music remotely, practice along with the recordings, and then they all submitted their version of the New Beginnings piece. It's now been all put together. We've now got 2 videos to share with you later on in the session. But I thought what would be really nice, rather than just having 2 videos that appear on the internet, nice to mark the occasion, explain a bit about it. So we're going to very shortly bring in some of the people that actually put the recording together, some of the guest tutors, if you like, and Lewis will be bringing them in very shortly. I'd like to talk about, and I'd like to bring in Katie Woolley, who is very kindly joining us from Amsterdam. I'd like to say hello to Katie. Hi, Katie.
Hello, Sam, and hello, everybody.
Hello. I'd just like to say hi, really. We've never met, have we, Katie?
Not in the flesh, no.
No, not in the flesh. And that's kind of true with a lot of us who've been part of this project, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I've only met a couple of you online in different situations, but yeah, it's so interesting to kind of feel though like you're getting to know someone because you're playing with them, and I'm playing your music, which comes from your heart and soul. So I feel like I know you, even though yeah, we've never met.
No, that's right. And I mean, I've seen you in videos, and again, you played my music and sent through, and we've been emailing for a couple of months, but we've never actually met, which is really nice. It's really nice to finally meet. And so I've just what I thought we could do, if you like, is I've just got a few questions to ask, and we can just have a bit of a conversation about your life and about how you feel about being part of this project and things like that, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. So I thought what would be really nice, first of all, Katie put together, and most of the guest tutors put together videos, which we put up on YouTube and shared with the students to just explain a little bit about themselves. But one thing I thought would be really nice is if you just could explain how old you were when you started playing and what school you went to when you were down in Devon, just to kind of relate to some of the students that are watching.
Yeah, sure. I started on the cornet, actually, because my dad was in the Navy and he had a bugle. And so he brought a bugle home from somewhere in the world. And so I started playing on that. And then I went to the cornet. And then at school, when I think I was about 10, between 10 and 11, I went to the horn. And my school was the Maynard School in Exeter.
Great. Yeah, thanks for that. That's really, it's really nice for people to hear how you, and a lot of people don't always start on the instrument that they end up on. I personally started on piano and then moved to trumpet when I was 11. So
one note is so much easier than 1,000 or how many they play. I think you made the right choice.
Absolutely. I've no idea how they do 2 things at once. I'm terrible at multitasking. I don't know how they do it. So when you were at school, how did your teacher kind of inspire you to take music further? At what point did you decide, oh, this is going to be my life? This isn't just going to be something I do on sort of Saturday mornings. This is going to be my life.
I don't know. It didn't really even seem ever like it was a choice. It felt like I loved it so much. I loved everything about it. I liked the feel of the cold metal. I liked the smell of the case. I liked like the smell and the slidiness of the oils you put in. And then the way you kind of like you'd like hold your mouthpiece and it was tight. Like everything about it I thought was just really fun. And maybe the fact that I also played the piano a little bit and I just could never work out the two hands at once thing. And so just suddenly only having 3 buttons to press was just like a godsend. So yeah, I think all my teachers, first of all, were really amazing, kind, positive people. Everything about it was like, yes, you can. Yeah, like it was just so positive and lovely. And they just inspired me to play with other people. And I think, playing with other people is the most important thing because you can have these lovely conversations and it just becomes something which is fun with your friends. And I just decided I never wanted to stop having fun playing music with my friends. I've carried on doing that forever, basically.
Brilliant. Excellent. So when you were in you'd have your lessons and you were playing your first instrument. What was the first band you ever played in when you were either at school or outside of school?
Yeah, so it was, I actually can't remember if I'm getting the name right, but it was Exeter Youth Brass Band. I'm calling it Brass Band, but I remember it was at one of the schools. I can't remember what that was called either. I remember also just going to play netball there and stuff like that too. But yeah, so we met in one of the rooms, and I remember there was a Coke machine in the corner, which was really exciting because I wasn't normally allowed to drink Coke. And yeah, I think that was when I first started on the cornet or something. And I remember everyone was better than me because I could barely read music, but somehow just kind of sitting there and the atmosphere of everyone coming along. I remember this girl playing a tuba, and it was like the biggest instrument I'd ever seen in my life. It's like, how does she carry that even, let alone play it? It was just so amazing to be kind of sitting around these sounds, and I just wanted to, I don't know, get better so I could at least be a part of that because I literally sat there doing nothing at the beginning. So yeah, it was always the kind of the togetherness aspect which really drove me, and I found really, really fun. So that's why it's so nice to come back here.
Brilliant. No, it's really been really lovely to have you, and obviously you came and did a like an online masterclass, didn't you, with which Lewis organised, which was really nice of you to do, and it's been really nice to have you involved in the project. So for those of you who don't know, what do you do now?
I play in the Royal Concerto Brass Orchestra in Amsterdam as first horn, which is lovely.
Fantastic. And how's that been going over the last year or so?
Oh, I think it's interesting. I mean, I don't think there's anyone in the world who hasn't been touched either personally or professionally by what's going on. So there are absolutely downsides to it. It's been hard to maintain focus while we're not playing. It's been hard to keep up the desire to practice and stuff like that. At the same time, it's opened up opportunities about meeting people all over the world. I've done online classes and lessons for people from America and China, Australia, New Zealand kind of thing. And so it's also been an amazing opportunity to kind of open our minds in a different way. And I've heard so many people play in some astonishing ways which I never would have thought about before because of this opportunity. So it's been difficult, but I've really enjoyed exploring the positives as well, which I'm so grateful that you asked me to be part of this, because this is a huge positive. Brilliant,
thank you. And are you playing at the moment? Is the orchestra playing at the moment?
Yeah, shorter weeks and shorter days so that we're not together for too long. So for example, I'm not playing this week, but I've got 2 days next week. So yeah, just about enough to feel like I can remember how to do it.
Fair enough. And are you doing things like social distancing and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, so we all have to sit at least 1.5 meters apart, and for brass instruments we have to kind of carry a little a spit towel, which I don't really know if that's a good thing, because that means you just carry your corona with you if you have corona. But I don't know, at least it's trying. So yeah, all sit quite far apart. And we also don't have as many orchestral breaks. You're not allowed to go down to get tea and coffee. And the different sections have different kind of preparation rooms where you go and put your bags and stuff so that people aren't too close together, because it's quite small before where we were backstage. So yeah, there's been adaptations, but it's working.
Brilliant. And are you doing anything to face-to-face audiences, or is it all live stream?
No, all live stream at the moment. Yeah, it was really funny because before it turned to, I think the last time we did an audience was in October or November, and it was only 30 people, but it's so weird how only 30 people in a whole hall which can hold 2,000 or whatever, even those 30 make a difference. Even those 30 feels like you're playing for someone, and as soon as they go away, it feels really funny that I never really, it might be a really silly thing to say, but I never really realized how important audiences were. How much they add to the occasion. So yeah, I miss them, but they'll be back.
Excellent. Well, thanks very much for all that so far. I think now is probably a good time to watch the video. And so I think just to give you a bit of background to those who are watching who haven't necessarily been involved in every step of the process, we asked the students to play along with headphones on, like I am now, listening to the track, filming themselves. Some of them decided not to, for various reasons, decided not to submit a video recording and just put audio. So if you're thinking, well, hang on, you told us how many people are involved and they're not all on the screen. That's why there are more people in the sound recording than there are on the screen. So just to give you an indication, there are 32 different audio tracks that have gone into the recording. So that's 32 people have contributed, which is really lovely. And you'll find there are 18 students and 8 adults on the screen in the video you're about to see. So I think without further ado, what I'd like to do is ask Lewis to play us the student performance of New Beginnings. This is the world premiere. This has never been heard before in public, and hopefully we'll get to play it live one day. But in the meantime, if I could ask Lewis to play the student video for us, please. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed that. What we will also be doing after this is to everybody that's been involved and anybody who's following us on social media or part of our mailing lists, we'll be sharing the video so you can watch it back, because I know it's hard to appreciate it in just one hit, isn't it? But we're really pleased that you could all be part of that. And I hope you enjoyed playing along with each other. We had it is the unique situation that we're presented with that allows us to, you know, people in Amsterdam to play with people in Glasgow. We were joined, as well as students from Devon, we were also joined by students from Wells Cathedral School and Bristol. So it's been really lovely to have such a wide reach with this project, and I've been really pleased with that. Perhaps we could bring in now some of our other musicians who we've been working with during this project. It's been really nice for me to meet new people as well doing this project. And so I'm actually meeting some people for the first time. It's like I said, I've met Katie for the very first time, and I thought it might be nice for me to say hi to Ryan. Hello, Ryan. How are you doing, Ryan? We can't actually. Well, I can't hear you, Ryan. Maybe that's something to do with me, or whether that's a setting. I'm not sure. Whilst Ryan's having a look at that, perhaps we could also talk to Hannah. Hello, Hannah.
Hi.
So Hannah, I have met before. Hannah was one of my students at South Dartmoor Community College when she was in my brass ensemble many years ago. And perhaps, Hannah, you could tell us where you are now.
At the moment, I'm in London, and I'm in my first year at the Royal Academy of Music.
Fantastic. And once where did you start your musical journey? Where did you pick up the French horn for the first time?
Well, at primary school, I think we had like a brass. Somebody came in and showed us all the brass instruments. And then a few years later, I decided to take up the French horn. And then I moved to South Dartmoor, where I joined Sam's brass ensemble. And then I did the Southwest Youth Orchestra and moved to Wells Cathedral School.
Yes, and it was sort of my fault, and I don't think your parents have forgiven me since. Every time I see your mum, she always says, you know, why did you send her on that course in a sort of joking fashion, because it was from that course that I recommended Hannah for that she ended up going to Wells Cathedral School for 4 years, which is a really exciting opportunity that Hannah was able to do. And it's been really lovely to have Hannah involved. And Hannah has also met Katie before, which is or through her work at the Royal Academy. So was that virtually, Katie, or was that in person?
I think we've only done online so far, haven't we?
Yeah, only online.
Yeah.
So that's it's the kind of unique situation that we're in, that we, you know, there's people. I mean, I'm teaching students that I've only ever met online as well. We've never actually met in person, and I never thought this would be the case. But it is one of those unique things. I just wondered if Ryan, you can hear us okay? Can you? Yeah, I think we're still struggling with the tech at the moment on that side of things. The wonders of modern. I was talking to Lewis about this, and it will be really nice to just all go into a room one day and play music with other people when there's an audience, and not have to worry about any of these things, which is is just one of those things, isn't it? Really. So what's it like, Hannah, being in having your first year at music college completely in lockdown, or pretty much completely in lockdown?
Yeah, I mean it's quite weird, but I guess I don't know what it's like not in lockdown. But I still feel like I've had a very full education, and I'm very lucky at the amount of stuff that I've been doing at the academy. But it is really weird that I'm not really, like, I can meet people on my course but not fully get to know them because of social distancing and everywhere being closed at the moment.
Yeah, I can imagine. So, are you allowed to do sort of brass ensemble work and like quintets and things like that?
Yeah, we can do brass ensemble, so but just social distanced, and we also do like repertoire sessions. So we'll have the brass section of an orchestra and run through a piece. And I think there are a few orchestral projects being put on, but social distance.
But no Freshers Week or anything like that either.
No, unfortunately not.
You'd have to do a late one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. It must be the social side of things that you must be sort of missing out on, really, Hannah. I guess then that's the tricky thing. But at least they, at least they're trying to do things in terms of ensemble work and just trying to make it the best that they can.
Yeah, music is so sociable as well that you kind of like. I feel like I've met so many people, and definitely compared to other courses, I feel like I've been very lucky in that aspect.
Yeah. Right. I think we have Ryan. Ryan, are you able to? Are we able to hear you?
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Of a fashion. Yes. Absolutely. We've spent the whole year, all of us, haven't we, doing this kind of thing, and I think we're all just really desperate to just seeing people in person. But I'd just like to say hi, Ryan. I've never met you, but it's been really nice to work with you on this project.
Hi, yeah, letting me involved.
Fantastic. Yeah, Lewis is quite. I think you sound a little bit like Barry White, Ryan, which I think is quite. It's quite a good description, really.
Here's a compliment. Yeah.
But it's been fantastic having you involved, and I know my students have really benefited listening to your sound and the sound of all the professional musicians. I think that's one thing when we're teaching. It's really hard to teach sound over Zoom or Microsoft Teams or anything like that, because we're not. Sound is such a hard thing to transmit over these technical devices as we're currently I'm sure I'm sure Ryan doesn't sound like Barry White in real life. I don't know.
Has this changed? Is it off?
No, it's still a little bit like a little bit strange sounding, but I mean, and so that's kind of demonstrating my point, really, that it's having the recording and being able to play along has been absolutely fantastic. So I can't thank you enough for everything you've done, and for all of you for putting together your tips videos as well. It's been really fantastic. So I think now is probably a good time to, if we can, Lewis, to listen to the video with just the guest tutors, for want of a better word. So we've been very fortunate to have an extremely high caliber musician that have decided to be involved in this project. And I'm really privileged as the composer to have this opportunity to hear my piece played like this. So I think it would be really nice to watch that now if we can. So whenever you're ready, Lewis, if you could bring that in, that would be lovely. We're back. How's everybody doing? How are you doing, Ryan?
I don't know. How am I doing?
Hooray!
Is it there?
Yes, you sound fabulous, Ryan. It's wonderful. So, what do you think of what did you think of being part of the project? How are you feeling about it?
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's really nice to be asked. I mean, I'm kind of, I guess, since I moved away from Devon, I've just, I haven't really, haven't been involved in anything back in the county musically since I was 17, 18. So it was really nice to get a call from Lewis, who I met studying in London. So yeah, it was, from that perspective, really nice, and just to meet and play with some excellent musicians who also grew up in Devon that I didn't even know about was also really lovely. So
great. And so what about you, Ryan? I know you produced a really great video for us, but not everyone will have been able to see that. So just a quick potted summary of where you started would be really great. Where did you start your musical journey?
So I grew up in North Devon, and I was I started learning the cornet about age 10 at Newport Primary School. Started learning in a big group, mostly cornet players, and then secondary school, went to Braunton School, where they had a really great orchestra that was run really well by the music teacher, who made everyone practice at least 3 times a week if you wanted to stay in the orchestra. And I was involved in the sort of North Devon music service whilst it was in existence. It kind of it folded after a while. And the Barnstable Town Band, the Devon Wind Band, and then onto the County Youth Orchestra for a couple of years. So yeah, lots of different ensembles, which was hugely important in getting me to the next step, which was moving to London to go to music college. Yeah.
Fantastic. Which college or colleges did you study at?
So I went to Trinity College of Music, and I did a 4-year undergrad in sort of classical trumpet, I guess, and then did a scholarship for a couple of years after that, which was sort of moving more into commercial music and dabbling in a bit of jazz. And so now I kind of find myself just, working all over the shop, doing loads of different things. So yeah.
So how's this past year affected you?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely been a struggle. Like Katie was saying, just sort of keeping the motivation there to keep the practice going. I've had, I've got a few different projects. I'm a composer as well these days. So had a few projects to write for, some albums to finish. But yeah, just with the kind of this live music element removed, it's been quite a difficult year, really, definitely.
I can imagine it must be tough. Is that like production music albums and stuff like that? Is that what you've been working on?
Yes, I do a bit of that, and then I kind of have my own originals project, which I sort of just launched actually about a week before we went into lockdown in March last year. And then I play on other people's tracks. So they send them to me. I'll do some remote recording, which I'll be doing for a number of years anyway. So yeah.
Fantastic. And so if we weren't in lockdown, what's kind of your main thing? If you had to say, right, that's what I mostly do most of the time before lockdown, what would that be, if there is such a thing?
So it sort of depends, really. I guess like I've done quite a lot of touring with an electronic music producer, a guy called Bonobo. So I've done a fair amount of touring around the world, and then in between that, I'm kind of very much a session player, picking up work in the West End, doing shows and just various sort of, I kind of do a fair amount of sort of pop playing, I suppose. That's kind of been a bit of a niche that I carved out since leaving college. So yeah, very much in the session world, I suppose.
Well, fingers crossed you can get back to playing live and doing all that stuff soon.
Yeah.
And so we're kind of open just for a couple of minutes, really, to any questions you've got. If you'd like to put them in the chat. We've had one from Paul Painter, who hi Paul, and this one I'll address it to all three of you, really. Have you had any tips on practicing during lockdown? Really, and I mean, if I go first, I mean, I found it really, certainly to start with, it was quite hard, and to have any kind of focus really as to what, because I personally always thinking about the next gig or the next project or a particular area that you want to work on for a particular goal reason. And of course, when everything was suspended indefinitely, it's hard, isn't it, to have that reason and goal. So I mean, personally, I find, just make sure you enjoy it and make sure you finish up your practice with something fun, so that when you put the instrument back in its case, you don't hate it and you don't want to throw it out the window. I that's my personal tip. What about you, Katie?
That's a really good idea. The ending with the fun thing is a really good idea. For me, I have basically just tried to use it as an opportunity. So kind of try to see it as a benefit thing, like everything which I didn't have time to learn before. Like there's always a couple of pieces I've always been a bit too scared to learn. For example, some of the Bach cello suites on the horn and the Glia horn concerto, I've always been too scared to do them. And I thought, okay, this is a perfect time because I've got nothing else to do, because it doesn't matter if I can't play them. So at least I can give myself the chance. So basically I set myself some challenges, that, and also writing myself daily schedules. So like I'll practice this piece at this time for this long. I'm also making sure that time's not too long, like realizing that my focus is actually way less during this time. So that's fine. I'm just going to accept that for a bit. So I'll do 15 minutes of this bit and then maybe do 20 minutes of this bit, but just writing a schedule. So at least I can feel satisfied at the end of the day, basically. So being understanding of my short focus time, playing something which is a challenge, so I still feel like I'm going somewhere, and yeah, scheduling my time.
Fantastic advice. Well done. Yeah, amazing. Yeah. What about you, Hannah?
I kind of like to think of like this lockdown time as sort of like free, like extra time, because there isn't much going on, so you can sort of work on whatever you want. So like Katie was saying, if there's anything I wanted to work on for a while, then there's nothing else to like distract you from doing that. So like this is the time to do it. And I think probably just having like a broader idea of what you want to do. So like I try and do like some studies every day and do some scales every day or something, and just aim to do that.
Yeah, sounds like a really good schedule too. How about you, Ryan? How's the kind of sort of keeping things going happened for you over lockdown?
Yeah, it's similar really. Kind of just been mixing it up, addressing a few technique things that had maybe drifted over just sort of going from like a really busy schedule and not having enough time to practice, to actually just ironing out a few things. And I've actually been really enjoying just playing along to like old records. Like I've got some big band charts, so just playing like through the lead book for Count Basie, things like that. Then you kind of you feel like you're playing in a band then, I guess. So it smooths over the cracks a little bit. But yeah.
Yeah, I think play-alongs are really good, aren't they? Whether that's like play-along exercises or play-along, big band tracks, or orchestral play-alongs, or things with piano accompaniments where you can play along. I think that's just trying to remember why we play music, and that's to play it together, isn't it? And I think I really like all the advice that you've all given, and hopefully the students will kind of take that on board. It is really hard though. I think that's one thing I've been trying to impress upon the students is everyone's finding it hard. It's not like all the sort of professional musicians are sat at home finding it really easy to keep motivated for the last year. It's not like, it's completely opposite of that. We're all in the same boat of like fighting the situation. It's like Katie was saying, having a shorter attention spans and things. We're all in that boat, aren't we? I think, as you say, be kind to yourself. I think every bit of advice that all three of you have given is really, really helpful, and hopefully the students will find that helpful too. And I just wanted to take a short couple of minutes just to introduce kind of what we're going to be working on going forward with Devon Youth Chamber Brass. So what we're going to be hopefully doing in next term, providing we get the sort of appropriate funding and everything goes in well, is we're hoping to do another project similar to New Beginnings. So everyone that's really enjoyed being part of it, it would be really nice to do a similar thing. We're hoping to do something in a slightly different style, so to go down the kind of film and TV theme route. Do something a little bit more up tempo, a bit more upbeat, perhaps involving a bit of percussion, and just kind of doing something a bit different, because New Beginnings was very much in the kind of chamber brass kind of era, sort of genre, and so I thought it'd be quite nice to give everybody an opportunity to have a bit of fun playing along. I mean, I'm a big fan of the kind of film and TV themes, stuff. I mean, I really got into things like the kind of 70s stuff, like The Professionals, and the Sweeney, and then kind of move on into more things that the children will have actually heard of, things like The Incredibles, music from these kind of films, just like big brassy things, but just really fun. And that's all that's kind of what music's about, is having lots of fun. So that's kind of what we're going to be working on, is hopefully working on an arrangement of one of those kind of pieces, and just getting everybody inspired to play along together. We've had another question, or another peak contribution here from Paul Painter, to say, to build up, he plays along with Spotify, anything that he can find, from prog rock to Taylor Swift, or the Mozart clarinet concerto on French horn, which sounds like a really great idea. I think that's a really, as Paul said, I think that's a really great thing, just sticking on Spotify and seeing what comes up, and it's good for your ears, good for transcribing and stamina as well. So hopefully those of you that have made it through our session, hopefully you've really enjoyed being part of the project or being introduced to the project. And in the future, we hope potentially in the summer term, it would be really nice to meet in person with the students. It would be really nice. We can find the COVID secure venue and we can actually start playing some repertoire, which would be really nice. And then in going forward, when things are a little bit easier for us all, we're hoping to have a nice big brass recruitment day where we can get kind of lots of brass going on in Devon and have some sort of fun sessions with technique, and all that sort of thing, technique and playing together, massed band kind of stuff. So it's all going to be lots of exciting plans. I don't know if you had anything to add, Lewis.
I just wanted to come on and say a few thank yous, really, because I just want to say a massive thank you to all of our alumni, our Devon alumni brass players who've been involved in this project. It's really inspiring to have top professional brass players who actually you can relate to, come from a similar sort of background and origins as you. And I think that's been a really sort of powerful aspect of this project. So thank you to Katie, to Hannah, to Ryan, who joined us this evening, but also to everyone else who's been involved in the project. And Sam is very humble, but he's written a fantastic piece of music that it's been great for everyone to engage with. So thank you, Sam, not only for your composing skill, but also for pulling this whole project together. You've been absolutely the driving force behind it. So well done. And as you said, hopefully we'll be able to bring some of these young musicians together for real at some point in the future. And that's probably where the biggest thank you goes, really, to all of the young musicians who've been part of this project, for getting involved, for putting yourself out there, for filming yourself. I know sometimes that's a little bit feels a bit awkward, but thank you so much for getting behind this, and we're really looking forward to getting you together for real to perform again. So yeah, unless you've got anything else to add, Sam, I think we'll wrap it up there, and watch out for our social media feeds, because we'll be sharing both of those videos a lot, I'm sure, over the coming days. So thank you very much, and yeah, we'll see you soon.
Big thanks to everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.